there have been guns in there, and apparently the pastor is anti, you know, gun freedom, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I think we need to get back to what we need to, how we should understand and feel. I'm not telling people how they should or shouldn't react to one thing or the other, but I really think that if you have an opinion that isn't directed towards the people, the victims, and say, "Hey, I'm sorry that this happened. We will support you in any way. We want to give you support." Then I think we need to hold off on that, on the whole politics of it. We've let politics run our lives a lot more than we did in the past. And it's a problem. I say that this is a problem because politics has its own arena and there is a time and a place for it. The time and the place is not a few days after a shooting where a guy shoots up 9 people in a church and straight up, does it out of cold blood, and we go back the next day and say, hey, this wouldn't have happened had there been guns in that church and someone was able to defend themselves. Who cares? You know? So let's get back to it. Like, let's understand the politics of it. The main things that were debated from this specific ideal: the Confederate flag and the use of guns. For what I've been told, and I could be wrong, Daniel Roof actually was able to purchase a gun legally in South Carolina. He was of age, he could actually purchase a gun, and, it was all legal and everything. My thing is this. I'm going to make it simple. This may sound like I care for gun control or I care for the opposite or whatever. Formulate your own opinion. Here's what I see fit. Everyone in the United States, everyone in the United States who turns 18 and wants to purchase a gun has to go through a background screen, or a background screening test. Period. Let's unify this thing. Everyone who wants a gun has to go through the exact same
with Ultimate MK3.
Sorry about that. It has to go through exact same background checks. Has to go through the exact same mental tests. All of that. All of that needs to be addressed. So, with that in mind, I think that we need to understand that there's a problem with having so many guns in this country. A lot of people acquire them illegally, and that's fine. I get that, and we should have a way to filter out all those who illegally grab guns, whether it be by, the black market or via someone getting a gun because they acquired it somehow, or if they legally purchased a gun, and you're not going to catch every single criminal through these background screenings. It's just not going to happen. But if there's a set rule that says you have to go through this test, and this test, if you pass all of them, then you can have a gun. If you don't, then you don't. Period. I also think that there should be a rule that if you have that gun, or if you, or not if you have the gun, if you've been convicted of a crime or something of that nature, something where if you're prone to attack someone, or if you're prone to physical harm, or if you're prone to something of that nature, I think that it should be addressed that there should be at some point a way to be able to not allow those types of people to have a gun at all, so that we keep less of a danger out in the public. Same as far as, having concealed carry out in the streets where people can actually carry a gun out there, that's fine, but how am I going to tell the difference between someone who is responsibly carrying a gun and someone who could easily shoot up a place because they're allowed to have a gun out? And sure, that may be, some people may not like that idea, or some people may not like what I just said, but you have to understand that dynamic of allowing people to conceal and carry around, in the public is, sure, it saves lives, but it could negatively impact lives too. If you really think about it, concealed carry just means that I can just as easily, walk out there with a gun that I stole, and no one will look the other way, or no one would look at me and be like, huh? So, as far as having concealed carry, keep it in the car, and that's fine. Keep it somewhere away from actually walking around, sure. But actually, having it out in public is, I myself don't like it. But people will have their own opinions about that. To the other point about the Charleston shootings is the Confederate flag. The Confederate flag, if you've never seen it before, if you're watching somewhere else around the world and you don't really understand U.S. history, that's okay. The Confederate flag is a flag that represents, or did represent, the South during the Civil War. At the time, the flag was meant for a lot of racial negativity, including racism and slavery and all that stuff. Around the Civil War, it represented the North's view on America, or the South's view on America versus the North when they fought. Nowadays, it's supposedly meant to recognize a legacy, a legacy that we, had. It represents heritage. It represents history. It represents what we were and what we have evolved to now. Suffice it to say, what that means is a lot of people use the rebel flag, the Confederate flag, as a symbol of historical reference than actual racial inequities and things of that nature. Not to say that Dylan Roof was an exception to this rule. Of course, he used it in a way that represented racism and negativity towards black people. It's it all that. Yeah, guys like him do not represent what the rebel flag should represent. Suffice to say, I don't own a rebel flag. Never wanted one. No need for one. But you also have to understand, if you ever read a Texas history book or U.S. history book, you'll know that blacks in the South were able to fight in said Civil War. So there's that. So as far as taking the flag down, banning it from stores, Apple taking down games from their app store, I think we've gone a little too far. I think we've honestly gone a little too far with that. Some people see the rebel flag as a representation of the history, the past of the United States. Similar one, in Texas, we had a flag that said, "Come and take it." We don't really use it anymore, but who's to say that if we did use it, someone would be offended by it and want that taken down? It's kind of the same concept. But I think that as far as the rebel flag, as far as the Confederate flag is concerned, there's no real need to take down this flag. There isn't. There's no real need to take down a flag that only really represented, something from our past. Now, don't get me wrong, for those who actually use the flag in a negative connotation for, racism and bigotry and things of that nature, that's not a great representation of the Confederate flag. As far as taking it down, or as far as removing it and taking it off of stores and things of that nature, I think we've forgotten that the rebel flag, similar to slavery, is a historical reference and is an important historical reference that is a part of the evolution of American culture. It represents how far we have come since then. So I don't think we need to have it removed from everywhere. We have to, I think it comes down to who holds the flag and how they use that flag. Dylan Roof didn't use it in a positive way. Of course not. But so many people don't care about, racism. They care about heritage. And for stores and companies to take down a flag that represents a lot of what Americans think of today is kind of uncool. So I think all the corporations and things of that nature need to step back a little and try to rethink that situation. To Obamacare, a lot of people are going to say one way or the other about Obamacare. Obamacare, took away the physicians that a lot of people had. Obamacare helped save lives. Things of that nature. I'm going to put it into perspective for you. Before Obamacare, I couldn't afford health insurance. Period. Just period. After Obamacare, I now have insurance from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas. Now, to say that there was a cheaper insurance before Obamacare, passed through. And yes, I understand that there are some negative effects of how Obamacare has affected our lives. Example, I can't go over 30 hours a week at any job unless I'm considered full-time. That used to be 40 hours. You think, oh, well, 10 hours. That kind of adds up after a while, though. To that point, I can now go to a doctor and get medicine. I still have it. Had I not gotten insurance after Obamacare, this would have cost me $95. When I got it, I didn't have to pay a cent, which I'm happy for. So, yes, there were some bad ideas behind it, and it wasn't really cool, but at the same time, it's just like, it's helped me out, and I'm sure it's helped out a lot of people who couldn't afford health insurance before. So, there are some pros and cons, as there should be, as I thought there would be. So, don't feel. I think everyone's entitled to their opinion, but you have to understand where everyone is coming from both sides. There are two sides to this argument. So, yeah. And finally, there is the issue of marriage equality. So, you may have heard, don't know if you heard, but you probably have heard that the state of Mississippi, wow, I'm sorry, I said state of Mississippi because I see a post here that just said that Mississippi may stop issuing all marriage licenses after the gay marriage decision. Back to what I was talking about. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled 5-4 that marriage equality, the marrying between a man and a woman, or two men and two women, is in fact legal in the United States of America. Just a reminder, you cannot get married in the state of Texas. Sorry. You're going to have to go to Louisiana for that one. Or New Mexico. Or any other state surrounding us, except Oklahoma. Oklahoma is not. They're not there yet. Yeah. And so, here's my thing. And you're probably going to hear it 1,000 times. And you've probably heard it on your posts. And you've probably seen the Facebook.com/Celebrate Pride profile photos of so many people changing their profile pictures to a rainbow filter. I'm pretty sure they got it from Instagram. Just saying. But here's the thing. Being gay is not a choice. I'm going to let that sink in for you a little bit. Sink it in. being gay is not a choice. Now, to those of you who think it is a choice, and those of you who chose to be gay, no. For those of you who strongly believe in what the Bible says, I can't believe I'm still going through this. I need you to understand that the Bible was a 2,000-year-old book that has been translated numerous times and probably not accurately. There, I said it. I'll say it again a little bit clearer this time, and I'll make sure you understand where I'm coming from. The Bible was written 2,000 years ago and has been translated several times and probably not as perfect as it should be. The Bible is a set of tales from different travelers around the time of where Jesus supposedly had risen from the ground or was born, things of that nature. I get that. I understand that people believe in what the Bible reads. At the same time, the Bible was written a very long time ago, so things can easily change. And science has proven a lot of the change that may or may not be written inside said Bible. You may not know this, but there are probably some pages within the King James Version of the Bible or any other version of the Bible that have been, taken out or, uh, uh, I forgot where I was going with that. So the Bible does have. I will give you this. The Bible does have some great morals, some great not rules, more of ideals, some great mindsets, um, some great passages within it that have a set of morals and things of that nature that I would think that people would follow, because the Bible does have some good morals in it. Treat others as you would treat yourself. Some of the Ten Commandments, those are good too. Like, there are good things that have come out of the Bible. I'm not saying the Bible is a horrible book that should be burned at the stake. What I'm saying is, you need still, at the same time, need to take the Bible with a grain of salt. The Bible is just basically a bunch of rules set to a mindset that says you should follow these morals. Otherwise, you go to hell. Or that's what some churches will teach you. Other churches will teach you that as long as you believe in the Word of God and you understand that God is there for you, that we're all going to mess up and we're not perfect. As long as you look to God and understand that, yes, that He is there for you, then that's fine. I also need to remind you that God did not write the Bible. Sorry to break it to you. God didn't write the Bible. A bunch of people who listen to sermons, probably by Jesus Christ, wrote that Bible. And sure, there may have been a spiritual mind that came into God, or came into Jesus, and it was probably from God that said, these are the rules, and these are the rules and ideas and things of that nature that say that this is what needs to happen. But remember, we're talking about rules and things that can easily change over 2,000 years. I just need you to understand this. So, as I've said before, take the Bible with a grain of salt. Don't take it literally. Please, don't take it literally. You know. So that leads me back to gay marriage. Yes, I understand the Bible probably has said at least 4 or 5 times that marriage should be between a man and a woman. Okay, let me make you feel better. How about civil union? Does that make you feel better? We won't call it marriage, we'll call it civil union so that you straight folks can have your marriage and gays and lesbians can have their uh, uh, civil unions. That better for you? Does that anger you a little less? And the term marriage is kind of a loose term in the first place. For those of you who say, "Ooh, let's get married," those gays shouldn't get married though. Yet you have a horrible relationship. You shouldn't talk. Really shouldn't. And then there are those who say that gay couples can't have as good of a family as a straight couple. Really? Here's the thing. If my mom married another woman and we had an awesome relationship, both my moms treated me with love and respect and everything, taught me everything. Had I had that situation happen versus me not having a father and my mother raising me and my sisters on her own, I would have taken that situation in a heartbeat. Because then I would have had two people always there to support me. There would be, and people well, there isn't a father. There can be some fatherly aspects when you have two parents that love each other versus a single mother. Forget about it. And it's not to say that my mom doesn't do very well at all. She did a hell of an awesome job. She worked her ass off to make sure that my sisters and I A, get a great education, B, grow up in a world that is equal and 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 that is equal and pushes forward the values of doing good things towards everyone, treating people with respect, things of that nature. I'm certainly glad that my mom raised me the way that she raised me. You know, I thank her for it. But at the same time, had she married a woman and both of them were great mothers, it would have been just as awesome. So don't discount the fact that a homosexual couple can't do the same thing for a child that a heterosexual couple could do. Don't discount that right away. But I do need to address one thing. Last night, as some of you may or may not know, the White House used color filters on their lights. I didn't even know that was possible. But they used color filters on their lights to paint that or to light the White House rainbow. Okay, really? Obama. See me? We talking? Here's the thing. I understand that the Supreme Court made a landmark decision and you're happy about that, and I get that. Wonderful. Thank you. I understand that you're happy, and that's great. Did you really have to do the White House like that? You didn't even put orange in there. Like, it's barely there. One. Two, if this were for, raising awareness, if you had lit the White House purple for, I forget what cancer it is, or pink for breast cancer, or any other color. I don't care if it's a mix of colors. If it was for something that raised awareness about a charitable ideal or something that affects humans all the time, then I would have been okay with it. But you lit the White House rainbow for a political reason. This all stemmed from a lot of politics. As great as the decision was, and I'm not saying that it wasn't, it was a great decision. But the White House should have stayed white. There are many things that deserve colors, but white should have been the color of the White House, not any other color when it comes down to politics, if you will. Sorry. I'm sorry that y'all don't like, I'm sorry you may not like what I just said, but you can't do that. Like, there are just times where you just don't need to decorate something for a political reason. No. If it were something that affects our lives, I can understand that, but you should never decorate anything. That's like if I went over to the border or to Austin and the state capitol's lights that were focused on the state capitol in Austin went completely rainbow colored, which that'll never happen because our governor sucks. Our state representative sucks. Ted Cruz sucks. Sorry. I just went political there. Anyway, the point is, if that were to happen in Austin, do you realize the backlash that would have happened? You have to understand that there are still people who don't agree with this decision. Maybe for the reason of religion. I use this term loosely because we really shouldn't worry about religion. It's not an attack on religion, by the way. It's not an attack on religion. I need to stress that point out to you. If this were an attack on religion, then I would say, then I would say we're saying that you can't read a Bible anywhere, or we're taking the Bible out of the library. I don't even know if libraries have the Bible. I don't remember. Anyway, the point is, we're not. For those of you who disagree with this decision, understand that this may not even affect you at all. I need you to understand this. For those of you families that do have, say, a child that finds out that he or she is in fact homosexual, I think that they should and deserve the same love and respect as any other, straight child. Period. You know, your love should not go away just because someone genetically does not like the opposite sex. Just doesn't. That's just wrong. To put it in perspective, if I get married and my child says to me, "Hey, I need to let you know that I'm attracted to the same gender," I would have been like, "Great. Let me make sure you understand that we love you all the same, no matter what." And I think that's what needs to be expressed. You have to remember, in other countries, people get straight up killed for revealing something that they can't help. I.e., if someone in another country, I forget what country does this, but if you reveal that you're gay, you're burned at the stake, or something similar to that. It's great that we live in a country that's very progressive, but at the same time, there's a difference between being progressive and showing political bias. It's like if the White House was lit up red or blue for whichever party is the majority leader. That's stupid. So, White House, lay off that. Let's face it, Apple did it better. Anyway. But, that's my stand on all of this stuff. And I want to know where y'all are coming from. I want to know y'all's opinions on all this. Tell me what you think. This is going on YouTube, so leave a comment in the chat, in the comment in the video. If you see this on Twitch, leave a comment there. I want to know y'all's opinion on this. On all of it. Tell me how you feel. But I wasted 43 minutes of your time. And I think it's about time we played some League of Legends.